in history on Wednesday, breaking the previous record set during President Donald Trump's first term. Speaking at a White House breakfast, Trump said the shutdown was partly to blame for a string of election victories for Democrats the night before, and told the room full of Republican senators to end the deadlock.
If you read the pollsters, the shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans.
Democrats in Congress are demanding an extension of Affordable Care Act tax credits that would stop health insurance rates from spiking. Republicans, however, are refusing to tie the extension of those tax credits to their funding bill and do not have the 60 votes they need to move it forward. Meanwhile, food aid recipients, air traffic controllers, and federal workers have been caught in the crossfire. Stephanie Rogers, a microbiologist with the Food and Drug Administration in Colorado, is one of them. She was furloughed on October 1st and has spoken to Reuters and other media outlets about the difficulties she's encountered since.
You know, I'm struggling. My children are struggling. Our relationships are struggling. It's hard to balance everything.
Rogers is a single mother who finds herself raiding her 401k, rationing groceries, and juggling overdue bills. Her state unemployment claim was denied because of an error. Federal workers are eligible, but the glitch could take weeks to fix.
I can't pay my bills. I don't know how to balance my bills because how long are we going to go determines how long my money will last. My daughter has a medication that she's on a daily basis, and I have to consider that, and I have to worry about that too, and how am I going to pay for the appointment and the medication and everything else, and that's not a place a mom likes to be in. So it's hard.
The shutdown is a test for Trump, who faces declining popularity. At the day's White House gathering, he called on Republicans to abolish the filibuster, saying it was the only way to pass their bill, as it would only require a simple majority of 51 Senate seats.
I think it's very important. We have to get the country open.
But in a rare rejection of Trump's demands, it appeared on Wednesday that more than a few Republicans were opposed to scrapping the rule, with Senate Majority Leader John Thune saying, quote, "I know where the math is on this issue in the Senate, and it's not happening."
New Directions Community Credit Union is now open in Titusville. They may be new to our community, but they've been serving our region since 1974, providing their members with affordable products and services. Membership is open to anyone who lives, works, worships, volunteers, attends school, regularly conducts business, or who owns a business in Venango, Forest, Warren, or Crawford counties. Visit their new location at 206 South Martin Street in Titusville to learn more about becoming a member. Best of luck to all the students and athletes this fall from New Directions Community Credit Union.
Looking for expert orthopedic care? Dr. Charlie Gates, a trusted name at Titusville Area Hospital, can help you regain mobility and a better quality of life. With years of experience and a passion for personalized care, Dr. Gates specializes in treating a wide range of orthopedic conditions. Whether it's joint pain, sports injuries, or orthopedic surgery, trust Dr. Charlie Gates at Titusville Area Hospital for your orthopedic care. Call 814-827-9770 today to schedule your appointment.
Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning provides residential and light commercial air conditioning services throughout the area. They understand the importance of your cooling system working properly. That is why you can trust in Vanderhoof to do the job right. Whether it's a non-working air conditioner, yearly maintenance, or a new install, you can be assured that we will solve your problem quickly and efficiently. Your home's air conditioning system is far more than just temperature. It's a complete comfort system that combines temperature, humidity, air quality, and above all, safety. Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning in Titusville. Titusville Market Square is home to over 100 unique vendors featuring antiques, collectibles, candles, coins, baked goods, dairy products, food items, comic books, toys, and so much more. You'll discover something new every time you walk through the door. Did we mention the selection of baked goods, breads, Clark's Donuts, and Amish pies? Titusville Market Square has you covered. Stop in to explore today. Titusville Market Square in downtown Titusville.
Our new home.
Somebody pinch me.
Somebody say pinch?
Pinch,
Ooh,
pinch.
pinch time.
We mean we just bought this.
Yeah, we just bought a new house. Why are there crabs?
Don't call for pinches. Call for protection.
Hit it.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Your State Farm agent is ready to help you choose the right coverage for your new house.
And your car.
All right, which way to the sea?
We're in Ohio.
So is that close, or?
No.
You got a pool?
No.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'm Ronnie Long.
And I'm Lisa Mellon.
The name Armstrong reflects more than just a company. It's a promise.
While others focus on the short term, we're building for a future that's limitless.
From the dawn of cable television to the rise of the digital age, we've delivered cutting-edge technology like our advanced fiber network that redefines what's possible.
Guided by our core values, we have proudly served and strengthened communities like yours for generations.
Fat Chad's is Titusville's premier dining destination. Come hungry and enjoy these menu favorites: T-bone steak, homemade meatloaf dinner, or soft shell crab tacos. Dive into fresh pasta entrees like shrimp and scallop pasta or our signature Asiago chicken. And don't miss our famous burgers and fish sandwiches, all served with fresh cut fries. Fridays mean prime rib specials. Enjoy Wild Game Saturdays. And on Sundays, it's our all-you-can-eat wing buffet. For good food and good times, it's Fat Chad's Brewing in Titusville.
211 is an easy-to-remember telephone number for finding health and human services for everyday needs and in crisis situations. Every day, highly trained 211 call specialists provide referrals to basic human needs resources like food banks and shelters, physical and mental health, employment support, support for youth and child care programs, and support for adults and persons with disabilities. To learn more, dial 211 or visit pa211nw.org.
U.S. stocks rebounded on Wednesday, with the Dow adding nearly 0.5%, the S&P 500 gaining more than 1/3%, and the Nasdaq climbing roughly 2/3%. An early market rally on Wednesday lost some momentum after J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon told Reuters that asset prices are quite high and there is always a risk of markets going down. Technology and AI-related shares in particular have muscled the stock market to record-breaking highs in recent months, leading to worries of inflated valuations. Those worries came to a head on Tuesday when the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq posted their largest single-day percentage drops since October 10th. Ross Mayfield, investment strategist at Baird Private Wealth Management, said that while stocks may continue to climb, investors should expect some road bumps along the way.
We're in now year 4 of this bull market. There's uncertainties and headwinds, but there's also tailwinds. So I think the takeaway is, you're never going to get a sustained sell-off that's just valuations without some other catalyst. The tech and AI tailwinds are still there. I think investors do just need to buckle up for a higher level of volatility as we move into year 4 here, and really press up against the upper bound of where valuations have been over the last 20, 30 years.
Meanwhile, ADP's national employment report on Wednesday showed private payrolls rebounded in October, though still showed some weakness. A separate report showed the U.S. services sector expanding even as it loses jobs and contends with high input costs. Stocks on the move Wednesday included Tinder owner Match Group, which gained more than 5% despite the online dating company forecasting fourth quarter revenue that was shy of expectations. Shares of the server maker Super Microcomputer tumbled more than 11% in the wake of the company's disappointing results. And shares of Amgen gained nearly 8% after the drug maker's profit beat.
U.S. Supreme Court justices raised doubts Wednesday over the legality of President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. Conservative and liberal justices alike sharply questioned U.S. Solicitor General D. John Sauer, who defended the legal rationale employed to impose the tariffs. Trump invoked the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA, a law that lets a president regulate commerce in a national emergency. Conservative Justice Amy Coney Barrett questioned Sauer's claim that IEEPA's language granting presidents emergency power to regulate importation encompasses tariffs.
Can you point to any other place in the code or any other time in history where that phrase, together regulate importation, has been used to confer tariff-imposing authority?
Liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson said IEEPA was intended to limit presidential authority, not expand it.
It's pretty clear that Congress was trying to constrain the emergency powers of the president in IEEPA. So it seems a little inconsistent to say that we have to interpret a statute that was designed to constrain presidential authority, consistent with an understanding that Congress wanted the president to have essentially unlimited authority.
Conservative Chief Justice John Roberts asked Sauer whether Trump has intruded onto the authority delegated to Congress in the Constitution.
Well, it's two-facing. Yes, of course, tariffs and dealings with foreign powers, but the vehicle is imposition of taxes on Americans, and that has always been the core power of Congress.
Roberts suggested that the court could apply its major questions doctrine, that requires executive branch actions of vast economic and political significance to be clearly authorized by Congress. The arguments came in appeals by the administration after lower courts ruled Trump's unprecedented use of the law to impose tariffs exceeded his authority. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said he thinks the administration is winning the argument.
I think it went very well. I think the Solicitor General made a very powerful case for the need for the president to have the IEEPA powers, and I believe that the other side, in a way, fell flat on their face, but that'll be up to SCOTUS.
The Supreme Court typically takes months to issue rulings after hearing arguments, but the Trump administration has asked it to act swiftly in this case.
All right, let's take a look at that weather forecast for northwest Pennsylvania. Partly cloudy skies today with temperatures in the upper 40s. That's it, upper 40s. Overcast tonight with lows in the mid-30s. Friday, some afternoon rain and temperatures in the upper 50s. Saturday, cloudy, upper 40s. Sunday, rain, snow mix with temperatures in the mid-40s. Monday, a few snow showers, mid-30s. And Tuesday, snow showers with temperatures in the mid-30s. That is a look at your weather forecast at 7:15. This is the Morning Drill. You're watching it on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. All right, happy Thursday. I think I got that right. Thursday. It is a Thursday morning.
It is the 6th day of November. I'll get it eventually here this morning. There's a lot going on. Happy closer to the weekend. Happy. Yeah. We've got, this is exciting. We talked a little bit last month about the Drake Energy Summit we were a part of. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're in the state or you subscribe to PCN, PCN will be running some of the segments that we recorded and filmed last month, starting tonight, 7:30, Energy in Rural America. It's part of the Drake Energy Security Forum program. And so 7:30 tonight, that segment will run. Then the future of U.S. energy right after that. And then getting energy to market. That'll be played about 9:15 tonight. So those three programs. Again, it impacts Pennsylvania, our region to a degree, and it's just fascinating to see how everything ties together. And then I think tomorrow, Friday, there'll be more energy in rural America, future of U.S. energy, getting energy to market early in the morning. And then Drake Dialogues will continue tomorrow on PCN around 12:30 with more information, including data centers and local energy. Joe and I were talking about that on Tuesday, Joe Tech. So that's a big one, and how that could impact our neck of the woods as the needs, our energy needs, continue to grow. And again, this isn't poo-pooing solar or wind energy. It's just not enough. And it's not, and again, if you're on the side of, hey, we need to cut everything and, save the planet, these things, your tablet, the technology that we use for everything.
It makes our lives easier.
Well, yeah, but it takes energy. Mm-hmm. AI, if you think you just go on and, you're going to use Chat GPT for something or AI, somewhere a computer or a data center has to process that. And it's not just a little tower that sits in a room. We're talking about major energy consumption to do these things. So it's not going away. So everything needs to be on the table. But again, great conversations with this Energy Summit last month. And again, you can find it on YouTube. And we haven't posted it yet on ours, but it is, if you look for Energy or Drake Energy Security Forum on YouTube, you can find those clips there. But we'll get those linked eventually with our stuff so you can find it. But fascinating conversations. And these aren't just local folks talking. There are some local folks, but these are folks from Washington, D.C. that made the trip up to be part of the conference here in the birthplace of the oil industry. There's the tie-in for those who might not be familiar with that. So Titusville, the birthplace of the oil industry, and our region just seeped in great energy history. And that's why these folks are meeting here. And it's a great backdrop to these conversations. So Andrew Tabler, who put this whole thing together, his brainchild, congratulations. And it's getting out there. So again, if you have PCN and you're looking for something tonight to watch, I would catch that. But this data center one and local energy conversation that's going to air tomorrow at 1:35 is also a pretty amazing piece of information. And then following that will be the impact of new technologies on energy at 2:30. So that's back to back, like really cool stuff to kind of take in. Okay, that's that. What else do we have going on? This morning we've got Crawford County Commissioner, I believe Eric Henry will be joining us. That's in the 8 o'clock hour. Between 7:30 and the time he's on, we're going to share some clips. If you missed our election night coverage, we sat down with Crawford County Commissioner Christopher Seeley. We sat down with all sorts of great folks. But this morning, we're going to share some of those sit-downs that we had the other night during our election coverage. So you'll hear from Christopher Seeley. You're going to hear, and just take note that he's setting up how the day went on Tuesday, maybe what the expectations are in terms of getting results and getting things finalized. But we'll also hear from Titusville City Councilman Gavin Griffin and State Representative Brad Roy. So that's all coming up here this morning. So looking forward to sharing those interviews. Plus, Amy's over there, sitting over there waiting to go.
I am.
Birthday is what we're celebrating.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Anything good? Have you taken a sneak peek?
I haven't. There is something on here, but I don't think we're going to celebrate it today.
Oh, okay.
You
mean you and I, or the world?
You and I.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see this story the other day? A UPS plane crash, Louisville Airport, killing 12.
It's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I think I read that like an engine went out or dropped off something. It was just not a good situation. When you first heard the story, like, oh, that's horrible, and then you see exactly how many people died, and it's like, wow, okay. So that investigation is continuing. So let's see. Of course, people still are continuing to talk about some of the results from Tuesday night's election. And I thought there was a couple things here. Oh, here's a story. I saw this headline last night, and I didn't get a chance to look into it a whole lot, but it was just kind of intriguing. The mismatch between school and workday, a relic of a bygone era and outdated family norms, has left parents and school districts scrambling to find a solution. Why does the school day end 2 hours before the workday?
It always, I guess.
Well, that's what this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's always worked. Or has it?
I don't know. My parents, had the schedule where there was an overlap and we were at a friend's house or we were home alone or whatever. But I think I don't know. Oh my gosh, I'm going to sound old. Times have changed where you had family or neighbors you could rely on, and people don't do that anymore. Like, I had an aunt who had her own business, so my mom, I could be dropped off there after school and hang out till my mom was done, or whatever. You had people you relied on, and the whole "it takes a village" fell into place at that point in time. But I don't think
for you it was more like the whole region had to take care of Amy.
Takes an army.
It wasn't it wasn't a region or a village that took care of Amy.
Yeah,
it required a lot.
I think that we don't do that as much anymore. Like, I think that parents try to be more independent and more in control, so they don't get that balance.
I want to be independent.
Yeah.
Isn't that from Rudolph?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. I'm done talking.
No, that's what I thought of when you said independent.
Okay. No, I just think it's just so different that there isn't the balance that it used to be. We don't go in the direction that, we used to go in. And sometimes things don't change for the better, unfortunately.
Gotcha. Well, it kind of goes off this other story I saw yesterday where the traditional 9-to-5 job, how long is that going to really work out? They're saying with technology and stuff today that it's going to be down the road, not today or tomorrow, but down the road, it's going to look more like I don't want to say necessarily a remote work situation, but everybody's going to figure out what time works best for them, and it's almost like everybody's going to be an independent contractor. The way the technology is changing things. So that's another story that I saw, and I don't know how that's going to factor into what I just read about the workday and the school day, that conversation being discussed. But
I think in my industry, it's funny because I guess here in Titusville, there were days like Wednesdays banks close really early for a time period to honor something. And people resort back to, hey, do you still close early on Wednesdays? No. No, we don't. Yeah. Normal hours. We aren't closed on Good Friday, though people believe that we are. But I think banking, like, there is a push where we are pushing into the future, and we are pushing towards electronic and self-maintaining your account, and, you know, away from human assistance and interaction, which comes at a cost sometimes. There's a lot, it opens the door to more fraud sometimes, and I don't know. It's just, you know, I get the ease and the convenience, and it's great, but sometimes you still need to talk to that person.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of talking to people, I am so excited. It's parent-teacher conferences today and tomorrow. One of my favorite times of the year, where you have to sometimes hold my hand because
control.
At
least they get to see where it comes from with our kid when they're like, before they even, you know, start talking about our poor little Cully, you know, he's not little anymore. Oh, that just makes sense. Never mind. Meeting's over. It comes from your parents.
What was horrible was like back in the elementary school days where you'd be like, hey, Luke, can you put the toys down and come over and have a conversation with the teacher, please? Can you join us in an adult conversation now? Why are you over there drawing with the crayons? Or
quit sniffing the markers.
Stop eating the glue. Come over here and have a conversation with your teacher. That's what I mean when you hold my hand. So I sit there. But yes, that's where I'm like staring at somebody and like, Mm-hmm. Do you know that's not happening in the real world, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
I mean, and I get it, and they're, you know, they do a fantastic job trying to keep everybody in the loop. And I tend to say this: we aren't normal, what could be considered normal parents these days. We do pay attention to our child's
that.
We do. No, I'm just saying, like, as times have changed, you know, not all, you know, yeah, pick it up, do this better, do that. I mean, I do spy on him, and I do stay on top of him, and I do, you know, manage.
Okay.
I don't know.
Helicopter mom.
I'm not a helicopter. I am not by any means
a
helicopter mom. This is where we're going to throw down. You want to do birthdays and what we're
let's
celebrating
do birthdays,
before I
yes.
throw this at you?
Yes.
Okay, great.
I can hear the
because I'm about to
chopper
throw my
blades
iPad.
going. Go ahead.
Sally Field is 79 today. Actor Ethan Hawke is 55. Actress Thandie Newton is 53. Actress Rebecca Romaine is 53. Actress Emma Stone is 37. And that is all.
Okay. Happy birthday to them. Happy birthday to you. If today happens to be your birthday from all of us here today, let's turn our attention to what it is we're celebrating on the 6th day of November.
All right. It is Dog Film Festival Day. International Day for Preventing the Exploitation of the Environment in War and Armed Conflict. International Stout Day. Liberia's Thanksgiving. Marooned Without a Compass Day. National Basketball Day. National Cashback Day. National Ladies Learning Code Day. Here we go. National Men Make Dinner Day. Yeah. National Nacho.
Cereal it is tonight.
Yeah, I know, right? National Nacho Day.
Ravioli from a can?
No. Nope. Mm-mm.
Toast. I can do that.
Mm.
Eggs?
Okay. Eggs. We'll do eggs. National Report Home Health Care Fraud Day. National Saxophone Day. National Team Manager Day. Project Management Day. And that's it.
All right. So find something there to celebrate. Dinner's on me tonight. I got this. Like, I'm like, who are we going to order from?
I know. I was going to say, do you hear that, local restaurants?
Hello, it's my turn to make. They know. The local restaurants know when it's my turn.
Luke's turn for dinner again.
You're calling. All right. We're going to revisit some of the conversations we had during our election night coverage. And before wrapping up this morning, we'll have Crawford County Commissioner Eric Henry with us. We're going to hear from Crawford County Commissioner Christopher Seeley right after the news headlines. They're coming up next. Happy Thursday, everybody.
The U.S. government shutdown became the longest in American history on Wednesday, breaking the previous record set during President Donald Trump's first term. Speaking at a White House breakfast, Trump said the shutdown was partly to blame for a string of election victories for Democrats the night before, and told the room full of Republican senators to end the deadlock.
If you read the pollsters, the shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans.
Democrats in Congress are demanding an extension of Affordable Care Act tax credits that would stop health insurance rates from spiking. Republicans, however, are refusing to tie the extension of those tax credits to their funding bill and do not have the 60 votes they need to move it forward. Meanwhile, food aid recipients, air traffic controllers, and federal workers have been caught in the crossfire. Stephanie Rogers, a microbiologist with the Food and Drug Administration in Colorado, is one of them. She was furloughed on October 1st and has spoken to Reuters and other media outlets about the difficulties she's encountered since.
You know, I'm struggling. My children are struggling. Our relationships are struggling. It's hard to balance everything.
Rogers is a single mother who finds herself raiding her 401k, rationing groceries, and juggling overdue bills. Her state unemployment claim was denied because of an error. Federal workers are eligible, but the glitch could take weeks to fix.
I can't pay my bills. I don't know how to balance my bills because how long are we going to go determines how long my money will last. My daughter has a medication that she's on a daily basis, and I have to consider that, and I have to worry about that too, and how am I going to pay for the appointment and the medication and everything else, and that's not a place a mom likes to be in. So it's hard.
The shutdown is a test for Trump, who faces declining popularity. At the day's White House gathering, he called on Republicans to abolish the filibuster, saying it was the only way to pass their bill, as it would only require a simple majority of 51 Senate seats.
I think it's very important. We have to get the country open.
But in a rare rejection of Trump's demands, it appeared on Wednesday that more than a few Republicans were opposed to scrapping the rule, with Senate Majority Leader John Thune saying, quote, "I know where the math is on this issue in the Senate, and it's not happening."
Vehicle shopping? Make sure you check out Titusville Ford first. Shop our amazing selection of new and pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs in stock. Visit us on Route 8 in Titusville and see why our customer service is a cut above the rest. Titusville Ford, your hometown dealer.
Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding is located at 305 East Spring Street in Titusville. Marsh Home Center welcomes you in to explore their growing inventory of name brand furniture, appliances, and bedding. Need something not currently in stock? No problem. Order from Marsh's online catalog and have it delivered right to your door. Visit Marsh's to see their entire showroom, ask questions, see what items are on sale, or just stop in and say hi. Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding, behind Giant Eagle in Titusville.
Whether you want to go and lead in your craft in the trades, whether you want to go and be that nurse or medical worker and have a real impact on lives, or whether you want to go and help that business improve its bottom line, this is the place, and now is your time to go with confidence, to go with skill, to go succeed. The Education and Training Center at Pitt Titusville.
I needed a place I could feel cared for without the long drive. I chose Meadville OBGYN because both my sisters came here, highly recommended Dr. Kristen. Dr. Kristen makes me feel very comfortable. Like I'm family, like we're friends, very personable. My daughter Evie was born breech, and it was Dr. Kristen and Dr. Barco, and they were incredible. It was a wonderful experience. I wouldn't ever want to go anywhere else.
Community Connect Federal Credit Union, serving Crawford, Venango, Forest, and Warren counties. Their mission is to provide quality, low-cost, and personal financial products for the growth and security of their members and families. Stop in, call, or visit our website, communityconnectfcu.com, and click Join to get started. Community Connect Federal Credit Union, 1050 East Spring Street in Titusville.
have strong roots in the community. You may have grown a career, raised a family, and built friendships. Now you're ready to give back to the place that has supported you. But how? A charitable giving fund at your local community foundation provides an opportunity to grow your giving, invest in causes you care about, and focus on the joy of making a difference. Opening a charitable giving fund is easy. Give gifts that work best for you. Invest your charitable dollars in one of our portfolios or through your trusted financial advisor and watch your giving grow. In recognition of your generosity, you may even be able to prune your tax bill through charitable tax deductions and state tax credits. The Community Foundation tends to the administrative details while you focus on making a difference. Simply make grants from your fund to organizations big and small, near and far, and watch them bloom. As you consider community needs and opportunities, our staff acts as pollinators throughout the community and always knows the buzz. We can work alongside you to inspire future generations of givers and leave a lasting impact. Your giving is our mission. Together, we can meet the needs of today and plan for the opportunities of tomorrow. We are better together.
Emma, did you hear?
Todd's in the hospital.
Who's Todd? He got a collapsed lung from vaping. He thought it was cool.
Not cool.
Promise you won't vape, Emma. It can lead to a lifelong addiction, and we can't be friends if your lungs collapse.
Bogus.
Wacky sitcom teens aren't the best people to talk to your kid about vaping.
Hey, you got a minute?
You are. Start the conversation with your child about vaping today.
U.S. stocks rebounded on Wednesday, with the Dow adding nearly 0.5%, the S&P 500 gaining more than 1/3%, and the Nasdaq climbing roughly 2/3%. An early market rally on Wednesday lost some momentum after J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon told Reuters that asset prices are quite high and there is always a risk of markets going down. Technology and AI-related shares in particular have muscled the stock market to record-breaking highs in recent months, leading to worries of inflated valuations. Those worries came to a head on Tuesday when the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq posted their largest single-day percentage drops since October 10th. Ross Mayfield, investment strategist at Baird Private Wealth Management, said that while stocks may continue to climb, investors should expect some road bumps along the way.
We're in now year 4 of this bull market. There's uncertainties and headwinds, but there's also tailwinds. So I think the takeaway is, you're never going to get a sustained sell-off that's just valuations without some other catalyst. The tech and AI tailwinds are still there. I think investors do just need to buckle up for a higher level of volatility as we move into year 4 here, and really press up against the upper bound of where valuations have been over the last 20, 30 years.
Meanwhile, ADP's national employment report on Wednesday showed private payrolls rebounded in October, though still showed some weakness. A separate report showed the U.S. services sector expanding even as it loses jobs and contends with high input costs. Stocks on the move Wednesday included Tinder owner Match Group, which gained more than 5% despite the online dating company forecasting fourth quarter revenue that was shy of expectations. Shares of the server maker Supermicro tumbled more than 11% in the wake of the company's disappointing results. And shares of Amgen gained nearly 8% after the drug maker's profit beat.
U.S. Supreme Court justices raised doubts Wednesday over the legality of President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs. Conservative and liberal justices alike sharply questioned U.S. Solicitor General B. John Sauer, who defended the legal rationale employed to impose the tariffs. Trump invoked the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or IEEPA, a law that lets a president regulate commerce in a national emergency. Conservative Justice Amy Coney Barrett questioned Sauer's claim that AIPA's language granting presidents emergency power to regulate importation encompasses tariffs.
Can you point to any other place in the code or any other time in history where that phrase, together regulate importation, has been used to confer tariff-imposing authority?
Liberal Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson said AIPA was intended to limit presidential authority, not expand it.
It's pretty clear that Congress was trying to constrain the emergency powers of the president in IEPA. So it seems a little inconsistent to say that we have to interpret a statute that was designed to constrain presidential authority, consistent with an understanding that Congress wanted the president to have essentially unlimited authority.
Conservative Chief Justice John Roberts asked Sauer whether Trump has intruded onto the authority delegated to Congress in the Constitution.
Well, it's two-facing. Yes, of course, tariffs and dealings with foreign powers, but the vehicle is imposition of taxes on Americans, and that has always been the core power of Congress.
Roberts suggested that the court could apply its major questions doctrine that requires executive branch actions of vast economic and political significance to be clearly authorized by Congress. The arguments came in appeals by the administration after lower courts ruled Trump's unprecedented use of the law to impose tariffs exceeded his authority. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said he thinks the administration is winning the argument.
I think it went very well. I think the Solicitor General made a very powerful case for the need for the president to have the IEPA powers, and I believe that the other side, in a way, fell flat on their face, but that'll be up to SCOTUS.
The Supreme Court typically takes months to issue rulings after hearing arguments, but the Trump administration has asked it to act swiftly in this case.
Joining us here this evening, we've got Crawford County Commissioner, Mr. Christopher Seeley, joining us.
Chris? Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Good. How are you? Wow,
Chris?
he's already using gentlemen.
Gentlemen, yeah. I throw the term loosely, but yeah, it's early.
Well, how are you?
I'm okay. We've had a pretty smooth day so far. So I was able to get away for a few minutes to come up and join you. I apologize for my tardiness.
No.
Sorting a few things out.
Well, give us a snapshot on the day. Weather was perfect.
The weather
no excuses not to get out and vote.
No excuses. No, we've seen some reasonably high turnout in some local races. Of course, school districts always bring out hotly contested school districts. Pencrest, of course. Crawford Central, there was a race. There was one race out in Conneaut. So we've seen a little bit of interest in those. Local township supervisor races, of course, can really motivate a township to come out and exercise the right to vote. As you just mentioned, the Conneaut Lake Borough Council. I was there fairly early this morning, and they were having a pretty good, steady turnout for there as well. So it is encouraging. It seems to be a combination of nice weather and some good, robust local democracy in action that's pulling people out. So,
would you venture a guess on turnout, or is it just too early to?
Yeah, I think it's really going to vary from place to place.
Okay.
So when I woke up, I voted by mail a few weeks ago for Linesville Borough, and I really didn't have much to vote for. I mean, I had a lot to vote for, but everything was uncontested.
Right.
So I would assume, and a lot of places were similar to that. So I think turnout there might be a little on the lower side. I think that's going to pull down the average county-wide, but you're going to see places like Meadville is going to push things up. There's really no big race in Vernon. West Mead is pretty quiet. Titusville has, of course, the city council race, but it's not really a race, as you just mentioned. There's just the two nominees. The MDJ race out east, however, I think is generating a lot of interest. So I think it's early to say. I was quoted earlier saying if we hit 30% in the Tribune a couple of days ago that I would be surprised, and I might be surprised, maybe. I hope so. I really hope. I like when those numbers are shattered because local elections are so critically important. The fellows and I, the rest of the commissioners board, we're not on the ballot, but 2/3 of your property taxes are your local government and your school districts.
Right.
So, these are the days to show up.
But what do people think when they don't go out and vote in these types of elections? Because I mean, I'm looking down, and you're absolutely right. You've got school boards, you've got city council, mayor in some spots. These are. And a lot of times these folks who are running.
Absolutely. Right? And that's what can make these races so fiery. Really, I mean, the passions run so high in national years, of course, and everybody has an opinion on who's sitting in the White House or who's sitting in the governor's mansion. But we don't really know those folks. Well, I always tell people, I mean, you could work 40 hours a week for a presidential candidate or a gubernatorial candidate. They're never going to know. You work 40 hours a week for somebody running for a county coroner. They're going to know. You're going to make an impact on that race. Not to mention, you have and in a small county like ours, you have a really unique opportunity to meet and get to know the candidates. Really, wherever you're running. I mean, even the commissioners and down, we meet with voters all the time. Whereas it's kind of tough to find your congressman some days. That's not an indictment on any one congressman. I use that and I use that in general terms. But so I think that the accessibility to local candidates is unparalleled. Unparalleled. But
Bob Robbins, Senator Bob Robbins, used to always say, the toughest job on earth is being in city council.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was Lyndon Johnson who said when the weight of the presidency is almost too much to bear, I think it could be worse. I could be a mayor somewhere or something like that. And it's true. I ran my first race for mayor 20 years ago this year. And it teaches you something. Local government, really, you can cut your teeth on that. And it teaches you to be better as you move up, if that's what you choose to do.
Yeah.
So could we talk, there's been a lot of talk. This is sort of an unscripted thing. Mm-hmm. And without getting into the weeds, Chris, can you speak to the election integrity?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask about.
He knows I gets into the weeds.
Oh, I thought he was going to ask about the Jack Lynch wing at the courthouse, but no,
we're working on it. We're working on it. A budget cut, we're a spending freeze.
Wasn't there long enough. Sorry, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You don't count the 77 years he spent as planning director.
Yeah, that's right.
So, just speak to that, if you would, in terms of your different boards that the commissioners comprise of, election board and so forth, and just walk us through a quick things that the voters can understand that their votes are in a good hand here in Crawford, and generally speaking in terms of the system, the protocols in place, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Well, what we really pride ourselves in Crawford County is that our chain of custody for ballots and for election equipment, the people handling it, there's very few of us. We're one of the very few counties in the Commonwealth where the commissioners actually do this work. For the last 6 hours or so, I've been in the basement of the courthouse opening envelopes and sorting ballots to be scanned for mail-ins and absentees. Eric is out driving around the county, stopping at precincts to solve any behavioral issues for candidates and to solve any maybe minor technical issues. But fundamentally, elections are run by your friends and neighbors and family members. I mean, the judges of election, the inspectors, the clerks, and all of these precincts, they're the ones that really run it. And then when it comes back to the courthouse, again, this is where it gets back to the prior point, where the Board of Commissioners and everybody who works in the election office, we're accessible. We work in Meadville, for heaven's sakes. I mean, we're not in Harrisburg, we're not in Washington. And we really do take pride on the system that we developed to be, it's always accuracy over speed, but we've been able to streamline a lot of things. Just in the past few years, the prior board and the current board have really worked to make as few hands as possible touching the ballots and handling the ballots, but also to be as accurate and as speedy as possible. And so right now, I mean, come 8 o'clock, a few minutes after, of course, there'll be a data dump on our website that will begin to publish results, probably at about 8:15 or so. And about every 20 minutes or so after that, you'll begin to see these updates as election returns begin to come back to the courthouse. But again, they're being delivered by local elected officials and our friends and neighbors and the people that we trust.
What system is in place that people would recognize the brand or whatnot of the actual equipment?
Sure. So we use Dominion. Well, I should say that as of very recently, it's been acquired by Liberty Vote, which is another company that purchased it. So this is what we've been using since. Oh gosh, I'd have to think back. I think I don't remember when, because it was prior to me when they put it into place. It's been reliable. It's been very dependable. Everything is there are fail safes on everything. The idea of even if something goes sideways in a precinct and a scanner jams, or we don't have, or a ballot marking machine goes down, at the end of the day, we always have the paper ballot backups. And we can scan them at the courthouse, we can hand count them if necessary, and many times we do. Anything that doesn't scan properly, if there's you spilled mustard on your mail-in ballot, or coffee, or something got torn when we were opening the ballot, that happens sometimes, we hand count them. And again, that's the 3 commissioners doing that.
No hanging chads.
No hanging chads. Sometimes we have a hanging ballot that's got sliced, so we piece it back together and we count it and add it to our totals.
And could you speak briefly, like tonight we'll start getting results, you mentioned, we'll start getting results rolling in 8:15, 8:35, and so forth. So do you anticipate that we'll have a read by, say, 10 o'clock?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, for the last couple cycles, it's kind of funny. You know, back in the day, and I'm sure you remember this from your time on the board, you'd be walking out of the building midnight, 1 in the morning, 1:30, depending on how long it took different precincts to come in. For the last 2 cycles, we've been leaving at 10 o'clock. We can basically process it as quickly as it can come back. So we're through with our counts for the mail-ins and absentees, hand counts and those sorts of things, provisionals, emergency ballots, if there are any, are handled in the days following, but they tend not to number very many. Now in local elections, if you're looking at a borough council race in Carnegie Lake that might only be decided by 3 votes, and there are 5 provisionals, that does leave that hanging in the balance. And that's where we want to be, again, accuracy over speed. We want to make sure we're doing it right before we're doing it fast. But we try to get those results out and available as soon as possible.
And final thing on that, can you speak to, your role in counting and the actual deadline the state imposes to certify the election results?
Yeah, we're always done ahead of time. So for the next, I would say if I had to estimate at this point, probably the next 7 or 8 work days, the board and I will spend time doing what's called write-in adjudication. And what this means is that any write-ins cast in Crawford County, be they at a machine or on a provisional or on a mail-in or an absentee, have to be reviewed by the entire Board of Elections. So that's going to be the 3 of us sitting in a room looking at a monitor for about 7 or 8 full working days. Because in years like this, there's so many offices on the ballot that many go uncontested. So township auditors, township tax collectors, borough council, that sort of thing. So people write names in, whether they're part of an organized write-in or they're Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck, or, my neighbor's a good guy, I'll write him in.
Right.
He has no intention to take the office, but it accumulates, and we can have write-ins numbering in the tens of thousands. And what that means is every write-in it doesn't sound like much, but it takes a few seconds to do. It takes maybe between 10 and 15 seconds to review it, decide the spelling, read the legibility of the handwritten, enter it into our system and count it as a vote. But when you aggregate that out over tens of thousands, it really adds up to a tremendous amount of time. That's where we're going to spend the bulk of our time for the next couple of weeks. Then we go into a process of tabulation, where we formally gather together all the hand counts, all the machine cast, all the write-in or mail-in and absentees, and total them into our official results. So I would look for a couple weeks out, but again, we always want to be accurate before we're fast, and we do regular updates every day after tonight. So every weekday, we usually do an update on our website at about 4:35 or so of where we are so far. So every day you can go into the Voter Services website. There's a PDF. You can click it open. You can almost kind of follow along with where we are.
Gotcha.
Really, we go through all the precincts alphabetically, and we tend to put a lot of ground behind us pretty quickly. But we can only move as fast as, frankly, the write-ins allow us to.
Well, there's a couple things. One, for those who think, okay, the commissioners just show up the night before or the morning of the election and set the machines up. That's not the case. How many times out of the year are you checking machines?
Oh, we handle the machines at least 4 times a year. So there's in addition to the 2 election cycles, a couple weeks prior to that, we go through a process called LNA, or logic and accuracy, which means that we set up every machine that we use, every scanner, every printer, and test them rigorously to make sure that everything is reading properly, to make sure that everything is spelled correctly, to make sure the headers are right. It's because we program everything locally, we make sure that all of those things go through 6 or 7 sets of eyes before they hit a ballot, and still occasionally we'll see, I before E, except after C, whoops, and we have to go in and fix it before it hits the live public. But yeah, so we do that twice a year, and then we do what's called 4-month maintenance. So on the off cycles, if you will, usually right around July or so, a couple times a year, we get all the machines out again, plug them in, make sure they're taking a charge, make sure they turn on, we clean them up a little bit. It's a constant process of maintaining and keeping those machines operable.
The other thing I wanted to talk to you about, obviously we're in a time when getting volunteers difficult for a lot of organizations. you have opportunities for people to be poll workers. They get a little something for that. But it's still difficult to get those workers that are needed. There's been some consolidation in terms of precincts, which for some places I think it's worked out pretty well. Probably, I don't know if that's the ideal thing in your world, but talk a little bit about just for those who are like, well, why is everything condensed now? What's going on there?
Right. So we're seeing a lot of this, is that to be a poll worker, it's a long day. So as voters, you know, the polls open at 7 a.m., they close at 8 p.m., and that means for the poll worker, they have to be there about an hour before that to get everything set up, and they're usually there about an hour after that. So you're looking at a 15-hour day, and that's difficult if you need to find childcare, or you have gainful employment, for example, and you can't necessarily get a paid day off. It's tough to recruit folks to run for those positions that are elected every 4 years. This is one of those years where inspectors and judges of elections are up on the ballot. But recruiting folks to do that can be really difficult. Even with the added incentives, we've been able to give them a little bit more money. We're not asking them to do it for free. We do give them a little bit, and they get paid training and paid for bringing the results back to the courthouse and mileage and those sorts of things. But it can be very difficult. And unfortunately, that leads down the path of, okay, we can't get enough people in, pick anywhere, Venango Borough or Pine Township or a smaller precinct. Where it's like, we can't get enough folks, so we're going to have to co-locate it with another precinct so we'll have enough poll workers kind of there to support one another if need be to make sure that everybody can vote. Ideally, that doesn't happen. Ideally, you have those municipal officials working in their home municipality for their home municipal voters, but frankly, it's just getting so difficult to recruit folks to do it. Many of the poll workers that we have stationed around Crawford County right now are not actually in their home municipality. Many of them are coming in from other areas to places where we need backup. Some of them may be on the ballot in their home municipalities for a different office, so we don't want them in that municipality working as a poll worker where they are a candidate.
Right.
So we'll move them for that sort of thing. But it is getting tricky.
So are the numbers, would you say, is it keeping the numbers of poll workers consistent? How many precincts are there currently?
There are 52. 50. No, there's more than that. I'm sorry. I think we're up to 59 now, because it used to be 68.
Yeah.
And we because of some of the consolidations in Meadville and Titusville, we were able to drop it back a little bit. But they're around 60, and if you think of that, that's almost 300 people to run it, as it should be. There should be at least a judge, 2 inspectors, and a clerk or 2. Now we have a good pool of student poll workers, which has been terrific, both from the Conneaut School District, Titusville, Crawford Central. They send us a lot of student poll workers that we compensate, but they go out for the day, juniors and high school seniors, and they're a huge help because the technology doesn't frighten them.
Right.
Everywhere I went today, the poll workers, they love having student poll workers because they just turn them loose with the machines. They set everything up in a hurry, and they just sit back and, okay, it's done. Now what do you need me to do? And they tend to be like the front row for voter assistance. They get them in, and they get the machines going and everything. And so it's a huge comfort for potentially aging poll workers that might not be as comfortable with the technology.
Savvy.
Yeah, they might just not be as savvy.
100%.
Yeah,
100%. Right?
You talked about this, but kind of give folks a timeline. A couple weeks before everything's finalized?
Yes.
Tallied and okay.
Yeah. And again, we tell folks, I mean, if need be, you're always welcome to call voter services. You can call the courthouse, call the commissioner's office or voter services if you're looking for specific details in a race, and we'll disclose anything that's available at that point. If we haven't finalized a count in that precinct, well, obviously we can't tell you what we don't know yet. But we just encourage folks, keep an eye on the website, check every day if you'd like. It's always updated, and you'll see where we are in the process. As we move into adjudication and tabulations and all that, it's open. I mean, the public is encouraged to come visit and watch the process and kind of learn. It's tedious. It's paint drying. It's grass growing. It is paint drying It is a paint drying showing grass growing. It can be very tedious. But anybody who has watched it as a one-time candidate and as a political operative, I watched the process and I learned an immense amount. First, I learned an immense amount of respect for the people doing it, because I just always thought, why has it taken them so darn long? And then I watched it. It's like, I can't believe they're getting it done this quickly. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
Commissioner, thank you for coming in.
Absolutely.
And your hats collectively on the election board is doing a fantastic job.
Thank you.
We look forward for the results coming in. We know that it's a process, and we always say when you're not here, we're here to talk about you. So thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much, guys. I appreciate the time.
Thank you very much. Yeah, lots of coffee tonight, right?
Lots of it. Lots.
Crawford County Commissioner Christopher Seeley joining us.
The U.S. government shutdown became the longest in American history on Wednesday, breaking the previous record set during President Donald Trump's first term. Speaking at a White House breakfast, Trump said the shutdown was partly to blame for a string of election victories for Democrats the night before, and told the room full of Republican senators to end the deadlock.
If you read the pollsters, the shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans.
Democrats in Congress are demanding an extension of Affordable Care Act tax credits that would stop health insurance rates from spiking. Republicans, however, are refusing to tie the extension of those tax credits to their funding bill and do not have the 60 votes they need to move it forward. Meanwhile, food aid recipients, air traffic controllers, and federal workers have been caught in the crossfire. Stephanie Rogers, a microbiologist with the Food and Drug Administration in Colorado, is one of them. She was furloughed on October 1st and has spoken to Reuters and other media outlets about the difficulties she's encountered since.
I'm struggling. My children are struggling. Our relationships are struggling. It's hard to balance everything.
Rogers is a single mother who finds herself raiding her 401k, rationing groceries, and juggling overdue bills. Her state unemployment claim was denied because of an error. Federal workers are eligible, but the glitch could take weeks to fix.
I can't pay my bills. I don't know how to balance my bills because how long are we going to go determines how long my money will last. My daughter has a medication that she's on a daily basis, and I have to consider that, and I have to worry about that too, and how am I going to pay for the appointment and the medication and everything else, and that's not a place a mom likes to be in. So it's hard.
The shutdown is a test for Trump, who faces declining popularity. At the day's White House gathering, he called on Republicans to abolish the filibuster, saying it was the only way to pass their bill, as it would only require a simple majority of 51 Senate seats.
I think it's very important. We have to get the country open.
But in a rare rejection of Trump's demands, it appeared on Wednesday that more than a few Republicans were opposed to scrapping the rule, with Senate Majority Leader John Thune saying, quote, "I know where the math is on this issue in the Senate, and it's not happening."
Interstate Pipe and Supply takes pride in providing superior customer service. That's why our dedicated employees are well trained and have the experience to offer friendly, quick, and reliable service and support. Need materials delivered to your job site? No problem. Interstate offers fast delivery from our 4 locations in Western Pennsylvania. We also serve Eastern Ohio, Northern Western Virginia, and Western New York. Service means business at Western Pennsylvania's premier pipe and supply company, Interstate Pipe and Supply.
Anyone with a kind and generous heart and a little money can be a philanthropist. You too can be a force for good in our community, and the Crawford Heritage Community Foundation is here to help you make the most of your charitable giving. We've partnered with hundreds of people like you to make our world and our community a better place. You can give through us to support scholarships or any charitable organization or purpose. Whether you're interested in establishing a permanent endowment or adding to an existing fund, we want to be a part of your plan. Contact us when you're ready to make your mark. Together, we can make your contribution go further.
The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home has been serving the needs of Titusville and surrounding communities since 1965. Mr. Garrett believed in tradition and commitment to excellence, standards that have been passed down from one generation to now a new generation, who will work to provide you with a beautiful, lasting tribute to your loved one. When you need them, they will be there for you. This has been their foundation for almost 60 years. The Gordon B. Garrett Funeral Home, 303 North Washington Street in Titusville. Share the fun of train travel and relive our country's oil history as you ride the OC&T through the valley that changed the world. Learn about the past while traveling on vintage cars. See a variety of wildlife with stops at Drakewell Park, Petroleum Center, and Oil Creek State Park. Arrive early and see the vast collection of train and railroad memorabilia at Perry Street Station. After the ride, enjoy a night's stay at the Caboose Motel. For seasonal specials or for more information, visit octrr.org or call 814-676-1733. For over 30 years, J. Gill Plumbing and Heating has taken pride in being the premier heating and air conditioning service provider in the area. Our highly skilled and certified technicians will work closely with you to address your heating and air conditioning repair, installation, or maintenance needs. And with the J. Gill Service membership, you can take advantage of additional benefits like filter replacements and priority service scheduling. Plus, members get 10% off future projects. Call today to get a free estimate or ask about financing options. Call J. Gill Plumbing and Heating today or visit them online at jgillplumbingheating.com. Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding is located at 305 East Spring Street in Titusville. Marsh Home Center welcomes you in to explore their growing inventory of name brand furniture, appliances, and bedding. Need something not currently in stock? No problem. Order from Marsh's online catalog and have it delivered right to your door. Visit Marsh's to see their entire showroom. Ask questions, see what items are on sale, or just stop in and say hi. Marsh Home Center Furniture, Appliances, and Bedding, behind Giant Eagle in Titusville.
211 is a simple telephone number to remember when you don't know where to go for help. Dial 211 when needing to find health and human services for everyday needs and in crisis situations. It's free and confidential, and you'll have access to thousands of programs and services for emergency and non-emergency situations. Visit pa211nw.org to learn more, and remember, help is available by calling 211.
Are you tired of juggling multiple pill bottles? Titusville Express Pharmacy has your solution, now offering compliance packaging. Your medication sorted and sealed by dose, making it easier than ever to stay on track. In a hurry? Take advantage of our convenient drive-through service. We also offer free local delivery for those that qualify. Titusville Express Pharmacy, where convenience meets care. Visit us today at 401 West Spring Street in Titusville. Simplify your medication routine with Titusville Express Pharmacy.
U.S. stocks rebounded on Wednesday, with the Dow adding nearly 0.5%, the S&P 500 gaining more than 1/3%, and the Nasdaq climbing roughly 2/3%. An early market rally on Wednesday lost some momentum after J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon told Reuters that asset prices are quite high and there is always a risk of markets going down. Technology and AI-related shares in particular have muscled the stock market to record-breaking highs in recent months, leading to worries of inflated valuations. Those worries came to a head on Tuesday when the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq posted their largest single-day percentage drops since October 10th. Ross Mayfield, investment strategist at Baird Private Wealth Management, said that while stocks may continue to climb, investors should expect some road bumps along the way.
We're in now year 4 of this bull market. There's uncertainties and headwinds, but there's also tailwinds. So I think the takeaway is, you're never going to get a sustained sell-off that's just valuations without some other catalyst. The tech and AI tailwinds are still there. I think investors do just need to buckle up for a higher level of volatility as we move into year 4 here, and really press up against the upper bound of where valuations have been over the last 20, 30 years.
Meanwhile, ADP's national employment report on Wednesday showed private payrolls rebounded in October, though still showed some weakness. A separate report showed the U.S. services sector expanding even as it loses jobs and contends with high input costs. Stocks on the move Wednesday included Tinder owner Match Group, which gained more than 5% despite the online dating company forecasting fourth quarter revenue that was shy of expectations. Shares of the server maker Supermicro tumbled more than 11% in the wake of the company's disappointing results. And shares of Amgen gained nearly 8% after the drug maker's profit beat. Shares of McDonald's rose Wednesday after the fast food giant beat third-quarter global sales estimates thanks to affordable meal offers that lured budget-conscious consumers. McDonald's has kept its $5 meal deal in place for more than a year, prioritized menu innovation, and intensified marketing efforts to revive demand. Executives at the fast food chain pointed to high prices of essentials such as rent, food, and childcare as weighing on low-income consumers. To counter those pressures, McDonald's in September reintroduced its extra value meals and began working with franchisees to standardize a 15% discount on combo meals nationwide, up from the current 10 to 11%. Comparable sales in the U.S., McDonald's largest market, rose nearly 2.5% in the third quarter, compared with a 0.3% rise a year earlier. The company expects early momentum from another promotion, one tied to the iconic Monopoly game, to further accelerate U.S. sales growth in the fourth quarter.
Now, if anybody was that interested, they could drive to Conneaut Lake. There's that. They leave the receipt
on the door.
Mm-hmm. So you can see how many people voted, in each exact election, in each race.
Right.
And you can see how many write-ins there are, and how many people voted for county treasurer, how many people vote,
Right.
But that would be quite a chore to go around to 60 different polling sites in the whole county, trying to look at the county stuff. But for one little borough, you could probably do it.
Right. That's true.
Same in Titusville, all votes at the Y, right?
That's right, yeah. One spot. So
it used to be 4 or 5 different places in Titusville.
Yeah. If you're interested, go out and check it out. It's I will say it's definitely more efficient, both as someone who has voted and someone that's worked the polls on Election Day, to have them all in one place instead of bouncing around town looking for where you're supposed to go vote. But with that, it also, I think, it's partially because there are less people voting in each precinct that they combined them together. And it's been a long process, but hopefully it drives people out to vote.
Yeah, you can also get yourself clean, have a good meal, do whatever you feel.
Yeah, that's true.
Some of it also boils down to, can you find enough poll workers?
You can always tell us late in the podcast, in the cast.
It probably wasn't as bad, Jack, when you were a commissioner, but it gets harder, I guess, every year to get enough poll workers because you need.
Brad, that was the biggest problem.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think there were 67 precincts when I was there, and now down to 60.
Yeah, and you figure, you get paid like $100 or $150, some small amount, and it's like from 6 o'clock in the morning until this time at night.
It's a 15-hour day.
Yeah.
Roughly, right?
And that's just, a lot of people can't do it. They have kids, they have medical issues, they have other jobs to go to, they have cows to milk, they have,
Well, you go back a couple election cycles ago, and they were getting yelled at. By people,
right.
That whole situation has gotten better. Right. So I know Chris Celia said that, and Eric Henry and Scott Schell, that situation where people are more respectful. Yeah. But there was at least one election cycle where that wasn't the case, and people were threatening to not do it again.
That's right.
They did a good job at taking care of that. So.
And I will say, in Titusville specifically, the one candidate that's running to replace me, Fred Smith, incentivizes his students in his government and economics class to go out and work the polls in both the fall and the spring because they can get a little extra credit and they get out of school for a day. And that has really driven a lot of folks that I know, some of my close friends that are now very involved and engaged in politics, to continue to do that for the remainder of their careers.
Well, that's right. We said it this morning. I said it tonight. If you're going out to vote and you can, take your kids with you. Let them watch you go through the process. Let them see how things play out. Let them be engaged in that. Start to understand why this is important. Right. And I think it's great for those who are able to do that. And I understand you can't do that. Pull your kids out of school just for that, but go before school. Or wait till after.
You could. That's educational. You could do that. You don't want your kid to miss the whole day of school, but I would see no problem. I don't think any teacher would mind that if the parent said, hey, I'm taking my kid
at this time.
To the I'm going to take him at what time does he have a class? Well, he has gym class at 10 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to get him at 10 o'clock.
No dodgeball.
That's the kid's favorite class. Yeah, and then we're going to go vote, and then I'll bring him back, and the teacher would be, that's great. That's very educational.
And that all comes back to the importance of civic education, that you want to make sure that by the time people are 18, they understand enough to go and be informed when they go to do their civic duty and vote. And whether that's getting them to volunteer as poll workers or having family conversations and trips to the, voting booth, that's incredibly important.
Okay, so then how do we get to here? Again, this is Politico yesterday. America is bracing for political violence, and a significant portion think it's sometimes okay. So how do we get here?
Yeah.
Obviously in school we should be having these conversations, right? But are we?
Well, and I think
are we sharing ideas?
Yeah, and I think anytime you broach the subject of politics, we live in such a reactionary time that if some parent or family is conservative or liberal and something happens, that they're so quick to go to the school and say, why are you trying to indoctrinate my kid? Rather than allowing folks to have a free exchange of ideas and saying that, look, there are some basic understandings that we have to come to. And de Tocqueville said that without common ideas, you can't have common action. We've got to be able to have that common action, and we have to share those common ideas of decency, freedom, and democracy and liberty. And I don't know how we get back to that.
Because it's not happening on college campuses much, is it? You can't.
No. Well, and I've spoken before. I love my university, but Mercyhurst is very, very standoffish when it comes to political conversations. And so we have political clubs that barely operate because they don't want to be perceived as pushing one thing or the other. And so what I have always been for is a free exchange of ideas and civic education, especially on campus, whether it's through voter registration drives or providing people with an open forum to share, this is this issue or candidate or campaign, and have a solid back and forth. But when we divide ourselves into those silos based on our political beliefs or political party, it makes us even more divided than we ever would be otherwise.
Well, just to play off your thoughts, because you're much closer age-wise and demographically-wise to anybody else at this table, right? So you're speaking more as a contemporary. But if politics is downstream from culture, having said everything you just said, there is sort of this cultural shift with we're led to believe by some of the polling of young males, right? They are leaning more conservative than they were even 10 years ago, for whatever reason. We could talk about that some other time, but that's a real driver. That is an interesting phenomenon. What's caused it? Is it a different national debate? Is it something local? Is it the school district that they're in? All of these kinds of things. So, Brad, getting kids civically engaged and giving credits for being poll workers, some incentives just to get kids out and engaged in this sort of what's happening at the local level is critically important. The apathy is off the charts.
I think one thing that might be causing some young people to be more conservative than just a few years ago, COVID really changed things. There's a lot of kids that they're really mad that their parents couldn't come watch them play high school football when they had all these, silly rules. And in an entire football stadium, there can only be, 100 people in the bleachers. And the prom is canceled this year. You can't take your girlfriend to the prom. And your high school graduation, tell your grandparents they're not allowed to come. And your parents can sit in the car in the parking lot. And a lot of these people, they've just had it. They've absolutely had it. And the ones that were in college is like, wait a second, I rented an apartment off campus, and all my classes are remote. I could be at home taking these remote classes, and I'm paying $1,000 a month rent. So a lot of these young people, they got fed up with the government. They got fed up with rules and regulations, and I think that's part of the shift.
There is, I will mention this, I know in Titusville, I think a relationship between St. James and the church and the YWCA, where they once a month try to have a community conversation to bring people together and just talk. I have not had time to attend one of those. I would like to sometime, but I'm just curious, are other communities offering anything like that? Is that something that should be done? Again, I think it should be done in school. I think it should be done at colleges, where those are the places you go to share ideas and to have conversations, to explore different things, to learn and grow. It just doesn't seem like that's happening anymore.
Yeah, and I think to the representative's point, right, that period in time, certainly that we were in our formative years of education, pushed a lot of folks my age and even younger to distrust government. And whether it's a distrust because of the overreach of executive authority at the federal or state level, or whether it's you look at people that are getting rich off of public service, and that's not what it should be. And so you start to think that everybody's out for one and one only, and that leaves a lot of people dissatisfied. And I know a great deal of friends and classmates of mine that just have no interest in being politically engaged because they feel that their voice has no power.
Right. Interesting. And I think you see that in the results. And I'd love to talk at another time about this. Your municipal elections are the pocketbook elections. These are where, day to day, your world, your tax structure, your roads, whatever. That's where the rubber hits the road. And, when you get, at the end of the day, a 30% turnout or whatever this turns out to be, across the board, that's significant. And Crawford's fairly politically active. I mean, it's one of those counties. It's not crazy, but I mean, it's got a strong presence in the Republican Party. 30% turnout's terrible. It should be, anyways. It's defined by both voter participation and attitudes.
Not to be a silly example, but like if you work someplace where 10 people work there, and the boss came out and said, hey, I'm the boss, I'm going to buy lunch for everybody today. The choices are pizza or KFC. Who wants pizza? Who wants KFC? All 10 people would vote one way or another. But when it's like, hey, we're electing a mayor, city council, township supervisors, county treasurers, state judges, and only 3 of the 10 bother to vote. I mean, I don't know what the answer is. I wish I did. It is, I don't even know the word for it. It's deplorable. I mean, it's just.
It's not finger looking good.
No.
Well stated. I think it's an embarrassment. But
Stop.
What's that?
No, nothing. Anyways.
Now, people that do vote in odd year elections, we are a powerful group of people.
That's
I mean, because you drive down the street you live on, you have more, you have more power than the second and third house that you drive. If every third house is voting, so in a way, it's good for the people that actually do vote. We have a lot more say than we probably should have, but it's not our fault.
Does that go into strategy when you're running for something, though? Do you think, okay, well, I'm only going to need X amount of votes to really pull this off?
Right. Well, I mean, every person running for every office, they want to get as many votes as possible, but it's just a reality. If you look at the records and you see somebody votes every 4 years in the fall election on presidential years, well, then there's somebody else that votes every single time. Primary, the general election, primary, general, and you only have time to knock on one more door that day.
Right.
You could probably guess what door you're going to knock on.
Right.
And, but it's just, I really am baffled why so few people vote in these odd year elections.
Oh, we're seeing it play out. And maybe we can have a forum to talk about just that at some point. I mean, for the purposes of reporting what's going on, we're waiting on an update. We try to like to get something in the door before we sign off here, but we're still on the last data dump from 9/25 from the county, and we'll see. We'll keep you posted. And by the way, we beat them up sometimes on here, but they've done a great job at least getting something out there. Like they said, they're heading out the door at 11 o'clock, so they'll do what they can tonight. But So far, nothing new. We were hoping to have a little more from the state, but Brad, any thoughts on, did you see anything on the retention issue that's been updated on your phone at the state level?
You know, I haven't looked on there for half an hour or so. Last time I looked, it was only like, 10% of the vote statewide was turned in. I'm sure it's higher than that now.
Right.
And my iPhone 2 is kind of slow pulling things up.
We'll have to get you updated here. What about outside of Pennsylvania? What races are you kind of taking a look at? New York City?
That'll be interesting to see there. California, what is it, Proposition 15?
Prop 50.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
They instituted a neutral, nonpartisan commission to draw congressional districts, a few years back. And that ballot question basically says, should we scrap the nonpartisan independent commission?
For a year.
Yeah. And, basically gerrymander things to get more Democrats, then go back to doing that.
Actually,
next year.
and in response to the Texas
a lot of
legislation that was trying to pick up Republican seats, and so I think more states need to consider an independent commission to do redistricting rather than letting people who, no offense to you, Brad, but our state legislatures draw maps that would favor one party or the other.
And there's always gerrymandering. It's just the degree of gerrymandering. And independent commissions, I think that would be a great idea in theory. But here's what it boils down to. For an independent, nonpartisan commission to work, you have to have volunteers agree to apply to be one of the commissioners that would do everything. And ideally, you have people that have no interest in politics. They don't have liberal leanings. They don't have conservative leanings. They don't even care about politics. So they might not even vote. Well, how do you get people like that to volunteer hundreds of hours to draw maps? Everybody has a bias. No matter how hard you try, everybody is, inclined, well, I'd like to see a map that would have more Republicans, or I'd like to see a map that'll generate more Democrats. It's just really hard to find truly independent, nonpartisan, disinterested people.
And real quick, it loos like the New York City mayoral race has been called.
Yep. Sure has, with Mamdani the winner with 972,000. According to ABC News, or CBS News, 972,905 votes. Cuomo was a distant second, 797, 715, and the Republican Curtis Sweela had 139,861.
I think, was it Staten Island he was kind of popular?
You see those numbers. Did that make a difference? If all those Republicans would have voted for, what's his name, would that have made it?
Cuomo.
Wasn't it enough?
No, well, it's not enough.
Not even enough, because there's some talk about that, getting him to resign. And I think Trump even supported the other Democrat, knowing the Republican couldn't possibly win.
Yeah. I will say I've been following as close as I can on the Virginia governor's race. They're a very interesting state government, that one of few that have their gubernatorial elections on odd years. It looks like the Democrat, Abigail Spanberger, will win the governor's race.
First female governor?
I think that's, because both.
Yep.
Yeah. Huh.
Interesting.
Well, with the race in New York City, Gavin, what's that do to the party?
Well, we'll see. New York City's always been significantly more left-leaning than
it's 40%.
I think the national.
Yeah, 40% of the people that are residents of the city.
Yeah, but
I
think Democrats are looking for the future of their party.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have a crowded field when we go to look for the future of the party, whether it's people like Shapiro or Newsom, or if it's Zohran Mamdani. We'll see.
I think all the Democrats running next year locally should have the same platform as the new mayor.
Yeah.
That'll play real well in Crawford County here.
Yeah, and I mean, the socialist side is definitely something that doesn't play everywhere, and it's special to New York City. But talking about economic issues and talking about folks having a hard time being able to pay for rent and groceries is something that definitely resonates with ordinary folks. Now, how you decide to address it, whether it's further government
That's
intervention
well stated.
or not.
It's universal too. I mean, but you've got the capital of capitalism, right?
Yeah.
Apparently it just elected a Democratic Socialist mayor, right?
Yeah.
In a city that's 40% by birthright, not a natural, wasn't born in this country, is the changing demographics. And it's also speaking to maybe where the party's going on a grand scale. We'll see, right?
Yeah, and I think you see from some of the younger folks that came out in support, whether it's AOC or some of the other folks in the House, and then the folks that didn't come out and support him, that are some of the older establishment liberals. I think we're certainly seeing a shift, at least in New York City, and who knows whether that wave will move westward.
100%.
Could this be a possible change? I think you saw how Trump changed the Republican Party. Is this a candidate that could change the Democratic Party?
It very well may be. I think whether it's conservative populism or liberal populism, it resonates with folks. It's just a matter of using enough tact and wisdom to find out what works.
The U.S. government shutdown became the longest in American history on Wednesday, breaking the previous record set during President Donald Trump's first term. Speaking at a White House breakfast, Trump said the shutdown was partly to blame for a string of election victories for Democrats the night before, and told the room full of Republican senators to end the deadlock.
If you read the pollsters, the shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans.
Democrats in Congress are demanding an extension of Affordable Care Act tax credits that would stop health insurance rates from spiking. Republicans, however, are refusing to tie the extension of those tax credits to their funding bill and do not have the 60 votes they need to move it forward. Meanwhile, food aid recipients, air traffic controllers, and federal workers have been caught in the crossfire. Stephanie Rogers, a microbiologist with the Food and Drug Administration in Colorado, is one of them. She was furloughed on October 1st and has spoken to Reuters and other media outlets about the difficulties she's encountered since.
I'm struggling. My children are struggling. Our relationships are struggling. It's hard to balance everything.
Rogers is a single mother who finds herself raiding her 401k, rationing groceries, and juggling overdue bills. Her state unemployment claim was denied because of an error. Federal workers are eligible, but the glitch could take weeks to fix.
I can't pay my bills. I don't know how to balance my bills because how long are we going to go determines how long my money will last. My daughter has a medication that she's on a daily basis, and I have to consider that, and I have to worry about that too, and how am I going to pay for the appointment and the medication and everything else, and that's not a place a mom likes to be in. So it's hard.
The shutdown is a test for Trump, who faces declining popularity. At the day's White House gathering, he called on Republicans to abolish the filibuster, saying it was the only way to pass their bill, as it would only require a simple majority of 51 Senate seats.
I think it's very important. We have to get the country open.
But in a rare rejection of Trump's demands, it appeared on Wednesday that more than a few Republicans were opposed to scrapping the rule, with Senate Majority Leader John Thune saying, quote, "I know where the math is on this issue in the Senate, and it's not happening."
New Directions Community Credit Union is now open in Titusville. They may be new to our community, but they've been serving our region since 1974, providing their members with affordable products and services. Membership is open to anyone who lives, works, worships, volunteers, attends school, regularly conducts business, or who owns a business in Venango, Forest, Warren, or Crawford counties. Visit their new location at 206 South Martin Street in Titusville to learn more about becoming a member. Best of luck to all the students and athletes this fall from New Directions Community Credit Union.
Looking for expert orthopedic care? Dr. Charlie Gates, a trusted name at Titusville Area Hospital, can help you regain mobility and a better quality of life. With years of experience and a passion for personalized care, Dr. Gates specializes in treating a wide range of orthopedic conditions. Whether it's joint pain, sports injuries, or orthopedic surgery, trust Dr. Charlie Gates at Titusville Area Hospital for your orthopedic care. Call 814-827-9770 today to schedule your appointment.
Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning provides residential and light commercial air conditioning services throughout the area. They understand the importance of your cooling system working properly. That is why you can trust in Vanderhoof to do the job right. Whether it's a non-working air conditioner, yearly maintenance, or a new install, you can be assured that we will solve your problem quickly and efficiently. Your home's air conditioning system is far more than just temperature. It's a complete comfort system that combines temperature, humidity, air quality, and above all, safety. Vanderhoof Heating and Air Conditioning in Titusville. Titusville Market Square is home to over 100 unique vendors featuring antiques, collectibles, candles, coins, baked goods, dairy products, food items, comic books, toys, and so much more. You'll discover something new every time you walk through the door. Did we mention the selection of baked goods, breads, Clark's Donuts, and Amish pies? Titusville Market Square has you covered. Stop in to explore today. Titusville Market Square in downtown Titusville.
Our new home.
Somebody pinch me.
Somebody say pinch? Pinch, pinch.
Pinch.
We mean we just bought this.
Yeah, we just bought a new house. Why are there crabs?
Don't call for pinches. Call for protection.
Hit it.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Your State Farm agent is ready to help you choose the right coverage for your new house and your car.
All right, which way to the sea? We're in Ohio.
So is that close or?
No.
You got a pool?
No.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
I'm Ronnie Long.
And I'm Lisa Mellon.
The name Armstrong reflects more than just a company. It's a promise.
While others focus on the short term, we're building for a future that's limitless.
From the dawn of cable television to the rise of the digital age, we've delivered cutting-edge technology like our advanced fiber network that redefines what's possible.
Guided by our core values, we have proudly served and strengthened communities like yours for generations.
Fat Chad's is Titusville's premier dining destination. Come hungry and enjoy these menu favorites: T-bone steak, homemade meatloaf dinner, or soft shell crab tacos. Dive into fresh pasta entrees like shrimp and scallop pasta or our signature Asiago chicken. And don't miss our famous burgers and fish sandwiches, all served with fresh cut fries. Fridays mean prime rib specials. Enjoy wild game Saturdays. And on Sundays, it's our all-you-can-eat wing buffet. For good food and good times, it's Fat Chad's Brewing in Titusville.
211 is an easy-to-remember telephone number for finding health and human services for everyday needs and in crisis situations. Every day, highly trained 211 call specialists provide referrals to basic human needs resources like food banks and shelters, physical and mental health, employment support, support for youth and child care programs, and support for adults and persons with disabilities. To learn more, dial 211 or visit pa211nw.org.
U.S. stocks rebounded on Wednesday, with the Dow adding nearly 0.5%, the S&P 500 gaining more than 1/3%, and the Nasdaq climbing roughly 2/3%. An early market rally on Wednesday lost some momentum after J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon told Reuters that asset prices are quite high and there is always a risk of markets going down. Technology and AI-related shares in particular have muscled the stock market to record-breaking highs in recent months, leading to worries of inflated valuations. Those worries came to a head on Tuesday when the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq posted their largest single-day percentage drops since October 10th. Ross Mayfield, investment strategist at Baird Private Wealth Management, said that while stocks may continue to climb, investors should expect some road bumps along the way.
We're in now year 4 of this bull market. There's uncertainties and headwinds, but there's also tailwinds. So I think the takeaway is, you're never going to get a sustained sell-off that's just valuations without some other catalyst. The tech and AI tailwinds are still there. I think investors do just need to buckle up for a higher level of volatility as we move into year 4 here, and really press up against the upper bound of where valuations have been over the last 20, 30 years.
Meanwhile, ADP's national employment report on Wednesday showed private payrolls rebounded in October, though still showed some weakness. A separate report showed the U.S. services sector expanding even as it loses jobs and contends with high input costs. Stocks on the move Wednesday included Tinder owner Match Group, which gained more than 5% despite the online dating company forecasting fourth quarter revenue that was shy of expectations. Shares of the server maker Super Microcomputer tumbled more than 11% in the wake of the company's disappointing results. And shares of Amgen gained nearly 8% after the drug maker's profit beat.
Well, joining us this morning, Crawford County Commissioner Mr. Eric Henry. Eric, good to see you this morning.
Good to see you too.
Have you gotten any sleep?
Actually, we did pretty good. I got some pretty good sleep last night, and we actually have a great staff. So we actually get out earlier than usual. Used to be a lot longer, so it wasn't too bad.
Kind of give us a snapshot of Tuesday. Of course, this past Tuesday, Election Day. When did everything kind of start for you? What time, and what time did you guys finish up?
So each of us have different jobs. My job, I particularly like to drive around and visit the polls to make sure they don't need anything, that they're having any snags or issues. We also have rovers as well, but I end up visiting 30 polls. I think it was 280 miles.
Wow.
I enjoy that. Scott comes in and actually starts processing the mail-in ballots, and then Chris handles the West, and then he comes in, and he's the chairman, so he needs to answer questions and be available to the staff at all times. So I enjoy getting out. I got back to the courthouse about 7:30 at night. I started at 7 in the morning. And then we, of course, got the information in the bags back from our poll workers, and then we were able to go home after that.
I think you've said this before, but I don't think people realize how big the county is. You've got a lot of territory to cover.
Yeah, if you drive from, I started in the little Spartansburg borough, which I really like Spartansburg. Sometimes if I'm good, I can catch breakfast there in the morning and go through that process. But the end of the line, if you go from there to Jamestown area, it's a long drive. You're 45, 50 minutes long. So
wow. So kind of run down any major snags on Tuesday, or did everything pretty much run smoothly?
No, we always have small minor issues with the printer here or toner or different things like that, but nothing major. The goal is to efficiently get the election process throughout the day, get the results out quickly. We do take the election integrity grant, which requires us to have a unofficial result before we leave for the night, which I think people like. In the old days, you'd have mail-ins you'd have to process, and there'd be this big waiting game. When we process the mail-in ballots during the day, and then at night we accumulate that total. So when we're done, when we go home at night, you'll see those results. The only thing pending are hand counts, which aren't that many throughout the process.
Yeah, and I think throughout the night we were noticing that too, where you'd see the mail-in numbers pop up, and it's like, okay, that's cool that those are coming in. A lot of people have been asking about the write-in candidates and that process. That takes some time to get everything tallied there, doesn't it?
It does. We're now in adjudication, and we are through Cussawauga Township. Just to give you an example, there is over 200 write-ins in the Conneautville borough. Now, if you think about elected official positions and then electorates and voters in the Conneautville borough, it seems like there's about that many people, but they're writing in, 5, 6, 7 spots. A lot of that's, local level auditor. No one wanted to be the mayor in Conneautville, so whoever has the most votes is going to be the mayor. So if you want someone to be the mayor who didn't want to be the mayor, Alan Clark was the mayor before he chose to retire. Maybe he'll get it anyways because somebody wrote him in again. I hope they did. So, but that does take a long time. So that is a very long process.
And we could joke about that, but if he's looking to step down and he is the guy, does he feel pressure or anybody in that position? Do they feel pressure like, okay, yes, I'll do it, or I really don't want it?
Yeah, and so we sent them letters to people because that does happen. People will put your name in or someone else's name in for a local level auditor. If you get that letter and you don't want the position, you just notify the voter services that you do not want that position.
We know Connie Lake Borough. There was a group that mounted a write-in campaign there. Do you kind of prepare for that in the office? Like, okay, yes, we were hearing pockets of areas of the county where there's probably going to be a massive number of write-ins. So yes, we're going to mentally prepare for that.
Yep, that's actually very true. That happens with the school district in the primary, and then in the fall in Client Lake. So we actually would set those names aside. We'd enter them into the computer. So if we did have to choose them, that we could enter them in the process. We did finish the Client Lake Borough race yesterday. So unofficially, what you see on our website is actually the final results of that, other than some hand count. So when people ask, where we're at, but it does help know that there's some write-ins and that they're prepared to count them that way.
Any thought on, or have you had a chance to look or kind of get an idea of what voter turnout, what the percentage was?
Seems to be, to be honest with you, it was much higher than anticipated, but it seems to be in some places, it looks like to be in the 40s across the county. That's pretty good. And I tell you, our poll workers are our best measuring stick. They like to be kept fairly busy. I'm not saying they want to be presidential busy, but they like to be kept busy because their day goes fast. On low turnouts, 20% or 25%, their day just drags along. But everywhere I stop, they're like, hey, we're busy. We're happy. And sometimes that was like in the Pencrest region, the Pencrest race drew a lot of interest. That's municipalities. The MDJ race out of Titusville, which was 18 or 20 municipalities involved there, that drew interest. And of course, those lower level races like the Clientville or Client Lake Borough Council, that draws interest, and so you will get it up. But overall, it was about 40%, which is really good for our area.
Yeah, and I was just going to ask you. It seemed like there were pockets spread out across the county of these races that were kind of big. The mayoral race in Meadville, you had the council there. You mentioned Conneaut Lake. You had Pencrest School Board. You had, the magisterial race. So it seemed like across the county it was spread out. Now, and I don't know if it was just political junkies like us that get excited about that, or if, and that's why I asked about the voter turnout. If it's north of 30%, hey, that's good. People were taking an interest in it.
Yeah, there definitely was interest in this race, and again, it's hard to tell what drives people at times. But I always tell people that we get stuck on national politics, but the things that affect you are local. Your local ordinances, your property tax, what direction you want your municipality or borough to go. On the township level, your roads being plowed or your needs being met. Those things they drive discussions. And I think in some of these write-in campaigns that actually were successful in the primary, there were supervisors who stood at the polls all day long that were wanted to be written in for supervisor race who actually won, and they finished through the fall because they wanted to see change. And that's commitment, 13 hours at a polling site to hand out write-in stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, and I mean, we could spend hours talking about this stuff, but let's go to something. I was kind of amazed. We had Representative Brad Roy on our election night coverage. He said only one person asked him about what was going on with the state and the budget. Are you surprised by that? What's your take on that? And what's going on with the county? Because obviously the county's being affected quite a bit now with the stalemate.
I can appreciate Representative Roy's having one person. I think multiple people have called his office. We've directed people to do that. At the end of the day, no county budget for county government, no state budget for county government is bad for our county government, and not only our county government, but our budget process itself. So I can appreciate Brad. Only one person asked him, but there are a lot of people concerned. We have a food bank in Meadville who their shelves are empty and they're getting additional help, which, by the way, the community rallied and did a good job. I mean, it is frustrating when we have to handle jobs like CYS and Human Services, and we're 2 quarters out, $9 or $10 million that we haven't been paid for, that we have footed the bill for. Now, I will tell you, this Board of Commissioners and the last couple Board of Commissioners, we are able to float our government because of the reserves that we have. We will not be laying our people off. We are going to use reserves if we have to, because it's not fair to our employees to have to suffer at the hands of a budget not being done. I do appreciate Brad in the fact that he has values that he appreciates through the budget process, but I just ask that all three of them get together, all three entities. They just need to get together and get this figured out. It doesn't mean that we all are going to agree. So.
Yeah, and I should clarify, too. I think he was coming at it as a surprise that only one person had asked him that day, and I don't know where he spent his time. I think he was out and about, but I think the second person to ask him was somebody on our panel. So he was like, that's actually the second time somebody asked me. So, again, yeah, I'm not sure if I think that was coming from a place of
Yeah, and I'll give Brad all the credit for one thing I will say about Brad. He comes to every event himself. He shows up. He is very accessible. He takes my phone calls, and I do appreciate that because that's not the case for all legislators. And Brad does. If you're gonna be somewhere at an event that normally Brad would be at, he comes himself, does not send a staff member. So I do respect him for that. And we don't agree, but he actually does talk through everything with me, and I appreciate that.
When's the panic button get pushed though from the county? Is there a date down the road that it's like, okay, if this isn't solved by this time, we are going to be in trouble?
So we evaluated all of our reserve funds, and what we spend is about $5.2 million a month. To give you an example, if we get through November and into December, and these folks have not had a budget, then the panic button will be broken and ripped off the wall and thrown across the floor. So we hope that's not going to happen. There is rumblings that there is some discussion that there may be a vote or at least a very serious discussion this week about the budget. And we keep hearing from other lobbyists, from other nonprofits who have been filling us in. But if we get to the end of December, that's a real problem.
Yeah. And again, this time of year with the holidays, and we've had folks on talking about the needs and, your food pantries, and it's good to hear the communities are stepping up, and I think that's what we're hearing is people are stepping up to help out where they can, but certainly that doesn't fix everything. So, and then the county, what do they actually lose in this? Obviously you mentioned being fiscally responsible and having a reserve, but are you paying interest? Is there something where the county does lose something the longer this goes?
Yeah, absolutely. If we have to dip into our reserve, which we haven't yet, but we might have to, if we dip into our reserves, then we lose that interest from those funds, and that's not money that the state is willing to pay us back. Now, the state was willing to let us borrow our own money at 4.5%. We're not interested. We would rather partner with our local bank partners to do that if we have to. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the interest we could have earned on our reserves.
Yeah. Let's do this real quick. You're watching The Morning Drill on Stream TV and on the Armstrong Neighborhood Channel. Crawford County Commissioner Eric Henry with us here this morning. How is it kind of a mind game that this isn't secure yet, but yet you have to work on a budget for next year?
It is, and it's tough. And I got to be honest with you, we have a great finance department. When we're done here on this phone call, this conversation, our finance department will be here with our chief clerk, and we review every invoice that's $50 or over. We do that every day, and that's how we've got to where we're at today. And I'll tell you that they're working parallel into the budget. And so right now the budget is still out, of course. We're going to present something today in our work session and then next meeting, and then we'll have time to obviously make those corrections. But we work really hard on the expenditure side of our budget. To give you an example, next year's budget is actually under this year's expenditure amount by about $1,000. That's unheard of for people, but that's what we do. I mean, we really try to scrutinize those things because that's what people want. They want you to protect their tax dollars. That's what I've said since I've been here 5 years, and this board of commissioners has done a great job, and the prior board, they kind of taught me to do my job. So yeah, I'm proud of them because that's hard to say for most government entities to say you actually have less expenditures in the next calendar year. But we still have to deal with the revenue shortfalls and things like that to make it balanced.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating. It's always a fun conversation to have. Maybe not fun for you, but I think you enjoy these conversations. I think whether it's local, whether it's state or federal, people are always like, yeah, we got to cut, until you say, okay, we're going to cut something in your neighborhood or your backyard. And then it's like, whoa, I didn't mean that. I meant somewhere else in the state. Is that kind of the same conversations you have with people?
It sure is. And in generality, people will look at things and run on a race or a campaign or elect someone based on what they think is important. Our idea of trying to trim the budget is we don't want to lose services for people. We're not saying we're not going to have enough people to process your hunting license or your dog licenses or do your assessment work or your planning work, but we also are smart enough to realize that we have to make sure that this population we have is shrinking, and our tax base is already taxed enough. I mean, school district taxes are not low, and then we try to work with them. So you kind of have to do some I guess in my mind, you plug holes where you can. To give you an example, moving the MDJ's office over to the courthouse will save us $100,000 next year. Moving the extension office to a building that we own, that we pay their rent, will save us $90,000 next year. Those are things that we can do without affecting anyone's job, without affecting any process, and still providing good service. And so we're using space we have. Those are great ideas and things we should continue to do. Our goal is really to have zero rent eventually. That's really our goal.
Do department heads, and I know they've been good to work with, but do they see what's going on and they're like, boy, I don't want to be furloughed. I don't want to have to, go into the holiday season not knowing. Does that play a role in what they're coming to you and planning for next year? Or are they saying, okay, we need this computer system or whatever it is. It's not a big deal compared to, everything else at the moment, but this is something that we would like to have next year. Is that entering into the conversations for next year's budget?
So I tell everybody that when you see elections and maybe like-minded Republicans running in offices together or as a group, the friendship usually ends at when the election is over. What I mean by that is we all have jobs to do. We get along and we still go to meetings, we still go to dinners, but when we're in budget talks, I'm going to do what I think is best for the taxpayers. That doesn't mean that the people who I'm friends with or on row offices don't always agree. But what I will tell you is all the row offices have sacrificed. All the row offices have made changes to their office and tried to alleviate them. And if you look at the balance of what they've asked for over the last several years, they also have held the line on their budgets as well. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to try and keep expenditures as low as we have so far. But everybody really tries to do a good part. And when they don't, they're not the happiest, but we do push back and say that really is our job. It's what we try to do.
Well, less than 2 months now before we wrap up the year. Let's get your take on 2025 and what are those little things that we're not seeing in the headlines that the county's working on?
So little things that people forget, we're still being sued for a reassessment. That case in court trial is going to process through. It's inevitable that next year we will face it head on. The likelihood of that process going through is pretty high still. And so if you look at the counties around us, if you've been paying attention, Warren County had a reassessment, very contentious. Mercer County is going through reassessment, very contentious. When people talk about reassessment, there's discussion about fairness and why people want reassessment. And I've stood firm the entire time. I'm opposed to reassessment because I feel like the state legislators, they really should have found an alternative way to fund our schools. That's what the number one complaint we hear from people is their property tax. Nobody wants to lose their house who's on fixed income, who retired. Do you really ever own your home? And so I always implore people as state legislators from that side, try to reform property tax. I'm telling you that that's going to come up in 2026. It's unavoidable. And I think a lot of people, you don't hear about it for a while. It's like, okay, we don't have to worry about it. When someone starts coming to your driveway and looking at your structure, which is required of a reassessment, they have to physically see property, physically see buildings, you will raise ire in the county. I'm well aware of that. I myself, I pay plenty of taxes. My wife has a horse fetish. I wish she didn't like horses as much as she does, but she does. And that horses are expensive and they require buildings. And so I pay plenty of taxes. I don't want to pay more taxes. But at the end of the day, that is going to rear its ugly head.
All right. And you think 2026 is the year we're going to hear more about that?
There is no doubt. There are already some dates set and scheduled in early spring. There's even just recently a discussion about a deposition that people are talking about. And to be honest with you, again, I don't disagree with the fairness of the process, but I don't agree that we as Pennsylvanians think this is the best way to fund our government.
You've stated this before, but talk about the sort of the thirds here, because it's just sort of rearranging the thirds, right?
Yeah. So it's really common math. I mean, anyone who's done a reassessment, a third of people's property taxes will go up, a third will go down, and a third will stay the same. So that inherently that will tell you that about 2/3 of the people don't want reassessment. If you think about that, the 1/3 who want it to go down will. The true question is you and I can't predict who that is. So the city of Meadville, they've sued us for this. They want reassessment. They'll tell you it's about fairness, but I'm going to tell you it's about millage space. You're from Titusville, you understand that. The millage in those third-class cities can only go so high. when you reassess, you re-scramble your millage, which offers you the opportunity to lower your millage and have more ability to raise your taxes in the future. They wouldn't dispute that with me. They can say it's about fairness, but it's really about re-scrambling your millage because they're getting to their cap. And I'm not saying there's some of the issues they can't control for that. I agree with them, but that's really what it's about. And so people look at that and they think, well, I don't want to pay more taxes. In some cases, they probably haven't paid what their value is supposed to be paid in taxes through this process, and they're going to find that out. But there is a good appeals process, but it does take a long time. And the appeals process is, you have to get through all the values and through all the issues. But at the end of the day, you're correct. 1/3 of the people will go up, 1/3 will stay the same, and 1/3 will go down.
And this would affect the entire county.
Every property in the county, even the exempt properties, will be reassessed. It doesn't mean that they'll be obviously put property tax on them, but every property will have to have physical eyes on. Remember, I told you over 1,000 square miles. That's not something you can do in a month, right?
Yeah.
That takes time. So we have to hire a company. It's going to be $5 to $7 million with zero net return from the county. We are not allowed to make or generate income off a reassessment.
All right. Crawford County Commissioner Eric Henry joining us this morning. Good to see you. Thanks for all you do, and get some sleep.
Thank you, Luke. Have a good day.
All right. Enjoy the holidays, by the way.
You too.
All right. Thanks. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Crawford County Commissioner Eric Henry. We appreciate his time and all the commissioners and joining us throughout the year.